The glass shimmered under the chandelier light. My daughter-in-law smiled across the table. Too wide, too sweet. Then the waitress slipped me a folded note. "I just saw her put something in your drink." I switched our glasses. 10 minutes later, she was laughing at shadows and slurring my son's name. And that's when I knew. This wasn't the first time she'd tried to kill me.
Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and tell me where you're watching from. Because this story, it isn't just about poison in a glass. It's about what happens when a mother decides she's done playing nice and starts fighting back in silence.
I'm Penelope Smith. Most people just call me Penny. And at 63, I thought I'd seen every kind of woman my son could fall for. Turns out, I hadn't. When Ethan brought Natalie home 2 years ago, she seemed like every mother's dream. She laughed at his jokes, baked blueberry muffins the first morning she met me, and called me Mom before our second dinner together. I wanted to believe it. God, I did. After losing my husband Thomas to a stroke 3 winters ago, I'd prayed for someone to make my son happy again, and Natalie looked like the answer to that prayer. She had that effortless grace, the kind that fills a room without trying. She'd touch your arm when she spoke, look you dead in the eyes, and make you feel like you were the only person in the world that mattered. But there was something in her smile, something that didn't reach her eyes. The first time I noticed it was at my birthday dinner. Ethan had surprised me with reservations at The Haven, a restaurant so expensive you had to book weeks in advance. When the waiter brought champagne, Natalie leaned over and whispered, "To new beginnings," and her lips brushed the rim of my glass before she slid it toward me. It was subtle, too subtle. But the next morning, I woke up with the worst headache of my life. I blamed the wine, I blamed age, I blamed grief. But that headache became a pattern. Every time Natalie offered me a drink, tea, coffee, wine, I'd feel that same nausea crawling up the back of my throat. I went to doctors. They ran tests. Nothing. They said it was stress or anxiety or maybe menopause symptoms returning. But I knew my body, and I knew something was wrong. Ethan didn't notice. He adored her, almost blindly. He'd brag about how lucky he was, how Natalie took care of everything, their home, their meals, their finances. He'd say, "Mom, she's just like you, organized, thoughtful, loving." That line used to make me proud. But one night, it chilled me to the bone. We were having dinner at their house. Roast chicken, garlic potatoes, red wine. When Ethan went to check the oven, Natalie poured me a glass. She smiled that sweet smile again and said, "You must be so proud of him, Penelope. He's such a good man. I can see where he gets it from." Then she leaned in closer. "But tell me, did you ever wish he'd been a daughter instead?" The way she said it, like she was testing me, made my stomach turn. I laughed awkwardly, tried to change the subject, but she kept watching me like a cat watches a trapped mouse. Later that night, after she'd gone upstairs, I overheard her talking on the phone. Her voice was low, sharp. "It's working. She's forgetting things. The pills take time. Just be patient." I froze in the hallway. Pills? Forgetting things? I should have walked in right then, confronted her. But instead, I went home and told myself I'd imagined it. Because no one wants to believe their own family is poisoning them. The real cracks showed when Ethan invited me on a family cruise. It was Natalie's idea, of course. She said it would be good for me. Fresh air, open water, relaxation. You'll love it, Mom. But the way she said it, that same syrupy tone she used when handing me drinks, made my skin crawl. I packed anyway, because I wanted to protect my son. I needed to know just how far she'd go. The first night on the ship, the ballroom glowed like something out of a dream. Crystal chandeliers, soft jazz, the smell of perfume and money. Ethan looked happier than I'd seen him in years, laughing as Natalie pulled him toward the dance floor. I stayed at the table, sipping water, pretending to enjoy the music. Then, out of nowhere, a young waitress slipped me a folded napkin. She leaned close and whispered, "Ma'am, I just saw her put something in your drink." My heart stopped. I looked down. The wine glass shimmered under the light. Natalie was smiling across the table, pretending not to notice me, her red dress catching every flicker of the chandelier. I smiled back. Then I switched the glasses. 10 minutes later, the band hit a high note, and Ethan twirled her. But when she came around, her steps faltered. She blinked twice, like her vision blurred. Then she started to laugh, hysterically. "Ethan, you look so funny right now." "Natalie, what's wrong?" he asked, gripping her shoulders. I just wanted her gone. I didn't mean..." Her words dissolved into babble. The whole ballroom froze. Then she collapsed. Ethan shouted for help, and I just sat there, watching, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear anything else. For months, I'd questioned my own sanity. For months, she'd smile in my face while slipping poison into my drinks. And now, in front of everyone, she'd poisoned herself instead. When the medics arrived, she was semi-conscious, murmuring in her sleep. Ethan was pacing the hallway. When he saw me, his face crumpled. "Mom, they said she might have taken something. They don't know what yet." I wanted to tell him everything. I opened my mouth, but then she woke up. Her eyes locked on mine, and she smiled. A slow, broken smile that made my blood run cold. "You shouldn't have switched it. You were supposed to die, Penelope." Ethan froze. "What did you just say?" She started laughing again, that same manic, high-pitched laugh from the night before. "She was supposed to die," she said, pointing at me. "She ruined everything, everything." Ethan stumbled back, shaking his head. "Natalie, what are you talking about?" But I already knew. She hadn't just been poisoning me. She'd been poisoning our family. And that's when I realized this story wasn't about survival anymore. It was about justice. Because Natalie had made one fatal mistake. She thought I was a fragile old woman. But I was about to remind her who she was really dealing with.
"You wanted to destroy me?" I whispered, staring through the glass at her trembling hands. "You just handed me everything I need to destroy you instead." The cruise ended 2 days later, but the silence that followed was heavier than any storm. Ethan wouldn't look at me. He wouldn't look at her either. He just moved like a ghost through the cabin, his face pale, his voice hollow. When we docked, the staff escorted Natalie off first. She was still weak, muttering to herself, but her eyes had cleared enough to glare at me when they wheeled her down the ramp. That smile was gone now. In its place was pure, naked hate. At the hospital, the doctors confirmed what I already knew. There were traces of a sedative in her system, the kind that could cause confusion, memory loss, and hallucinations. The same symptoms I'd been having for months. When Ethan heard that, he broke. "Mom, are you saying she's been doing this to you?" I didn't answer right away, because saying it out loud made it real. It meant admitting that my son, my brilliant, kind, trusting son, had married a woman who was killing me slowly, right under his nose. "I don't know yet," I said quietly, "but I'm going to find out." The next few weeks I stayed quiet. Publicly, I was the concerned mother, checking on my daughter-in-law's recovery, bringing flowers, helping with errands. But underneath that politeness, I was gathering evidence. I started with the kitchen. While Ethan worked late, I went through every cabinet, every drawer. I found 2 empty pill bottles, both labeled as over-the-counter vitamins, but the labels had been peeled off and reattached. Sloppily. The pills inside weren't vitamins. They were crushed capsules mixed into powdered supplements, and one of them I recognized immediately. It was lorazepam, a sedative, the same one that had shown up in her blood work on the ship. I took photos, bagged samples, every detail, time-stamped, labeled, organized. Because I knew one thing for sure. If Natalie had been willing to poison me, she wouldn't stop until she destroyed everyone in her path. Ethan didn't want to believe it. When I showed him the photos, he just stared at them like he was looking at a puzzle he didn't want to solve. "Mom, this doesn't make sense," he whispered. "She wouldn't." "She would," I said, my voice trembling. "And she did." He rubbed his face, tears in his eyes. "She's sick. Maybe she didn't mean." "Don't you dare make excuses for her," I snapped. "She almost killed me, and she's been using you as a shield to do it." For a long time, he didn't speak. Then finally, he said something that broke me. "I think she's been drugging me too." I froze. "What?" He nodded slowly. "Sometimes I wake up in places I don't remember falling asleep. She says it's stress, but sometimes my head feels foggy for hours." That's when it all clicked. The control, the constant manipulation, the fake tenderness. Natalie wasn't just poisoning me, she was conditioning us both, turning Ethan into a dependent, exhausted version of himself while isolating me under the guise of helping. She wanted control of everything, including my son's inheritance. You see, after Thomas died, Ethan and I shared the family trust. Half of it went to him when he turned 40, but the other half, the one in my name, was still intact. And that money, that house, that security, that's what Natalie wanted. I didn't have proof of that yet, but I knew where to find it. Her phone. While she slept one afternoon, still recovering according to her doctor, I told Ethan to let me into the house. He hesitated, but I could see the fear in his eyes. The same fear I'd felt when that waitress slipped me the note. We went in quietly. Her phone was on the nightstand, face down. I picked it up. No passcode. Too confident. Too arrogant. Inside, I found everything. Text messages to a contact saved only as C. It's working. She's weaker every day. Once she's gone, he'll sign the papers. Don't worry, he's too tired to notice.
And then, the one that made my stomach drop. After the cruise, it'll be done. 1 drink, 1 signature, and we're free. Ethan's hands shook as he read the screen. Oh my God! Who's C? I asked. He scrolled up, jaw tightening. Her ex, Chris, the one she said cheated on her before we met. A bitter laugh escaped me. So that was a lie, too. It wasn't just a poisoning. It was a conspiracy. She was planning to take Ethan's money, stage his death as an overdose, and disappear with her lover. But now, I had proof. Real, legal, undeniable proof. Still, I knew better than to go straight to the police. People like Natalie, charming, pretty, educated, they know how to cry on cue. They twist everything until you look like the crazy one. No. This had to be silent, precise. It had to look natural. I called in a favor. My late husband's brother, Richard, was a retired private investigator. I sent him everything, Photos, messages, the pill samples. He called me the next morning. "Penny, what you've got here is more than enough, but if you want to make it stick, we need her to admit it herself." "How do we do that?" I asked. "We let her think she's won." The plan was simple and cruel. We'd stage my decline. Over the next few weeks, I'd act weaker, more confused, forgetful. I'd cancel my doctor's appointments, stop taking medication, let her see me unravel. Natalie, ever the opportunist, would step in, pretending to help me while accelerating the poisoning. And when she did, Richard would have cameras rolling in every corner of my home. It was dangerous. One mistake and I'd end up in a hospital bed, or worse. But I'd rather die on my feet than live another day as her victim. The performance began. I stopped wearing makeup, stopped combing my hair, started forgetting names and directions. Natalie couldn't hide her delight. She'd bring me tea every afternoon, insisting I drink it all. "It's chamomile, Mom. Helps you rest." She was bold now, too bold, because predators always relax when they think their prey has stopped running. One afternoon, I forgot to lock my door. She walked right in, carrying a tray with 2 cups of tea. "You really shouldn't be alone, Penelope. You could fall. You need someone looking after you." I smiled faintly, keeping my voice weak. "You're so kind, dear. I don't know what I'd do without you." She placed the cup on the table. "Just drink, okay?" I nodded and watched her leave. As soon as the door shut, I switched the cups. Again. This time, cameras caught everything, from the moment she added the powder to the glass to the smug smile she gave herself in the reflection of the mirror. She thought she was unstoppable. But what she didn't know is that every sip she took was sealing her own fate. That night, she began to slur again. Only this time, there were no witnesses she could fool. Just me and the quiet hum of hidden cameras. I sat across from her, watching as she tried to steady her hands. You don't look so good," I said softly. What did you do?" she stammered. "Nothing you didn't teach me," I whispered. "You really should have labeled those bottles better." Her eyes widened as she realized I'd switched them again. No, you can't," I said coldly. "You tried to kill a mother. But you forgot one thing." I leaned forward. "Mothers don't die quietly." By the time Ethan returned home, she was unconscious. I told him to call 911. When the paramedics came, I handed the police the video evidence. Everything. The pills, the footage, the messages. It was over. Or so I thought. Because what came next would show me that revenge isn't a single act. It's a chain reaction. And the final link was still waiting to snap.
The police took Natalie away that night. Ethan stood frozen at the doorway, watching as the woman he thought he loved was wheeled out of our home in handcuffs, half-conscious, trembling, whispering my name over and over. "Mom, what did you do?" he asked, voice hollow. "I did what I had to," I said quietly, and now we let the truth speak. The next morning, Detective Hale came to my house. A calm man, sharp eyes, and a notebook that never seemed to stop moving. He'd seen monsters before, but not ones that smiled for family portraits. He played the footage back on my television, one slow frame at a time. Natalie sprinkling powder into the cup, switching spoons when she thought I wasn't looking, tasting her own trap. "This is airtight," he said. "She'll be facing attempted murder, maybe more depending on the toxicology reports." But I wasn't done.
because I knew Natalie, and I knew she didn't act alone. 2 days later, Richard, my brother-in-law, the retired investigator, showed up at my porch with a folder thicker than a novel. He dropped it on the table. "You might want to sit down, Pen." Inside were names, phone numbers, bank transfers, all linked to one person, Christopher Lane, her ex, her supposed past mistake. Turns out, he wasn't her ex. He was her partner. Together, they'd built a small web of short-lived scams: investment fraud, forged medical claims, insurance theft. Each time, a victim was someone older, wealthier, and always emotionally tied to Natalie. There were whispers that she'd even done this once before, a widower in Florida. He died after heart complications. No charges were ever filed, but the pattern was there. I felt my stomach twist. She'd been perfecting her act for years, learning how to play helpless, sweet, innocent, until she got what she wanted. And now she'd chosen my family as her final stage. While the investigation built its case, Ethan spiraled. He stopped eating, stopped working. He'd sit on the porch for hours staring at nothing. I tried to talk to him, but his guilt ran too deep. "I brought her into our lives," he said one night. "I made you vulnerable. You loved someone who lied. That's not a crime. But letting her destroy you after all this, that would be." He didn't answer, but that night, he finally slept for the first time in weeks. A month later, Natalie's lawyer called. He wanted a meeting. He said, "She wants to talk to you, privately. No police, no press." My instinct said no, but my gut, the same gut that had saved me on that cruise, said go. So I agreed. We met in a sterile visiting room separated by glass. She looked thinner, paler, but her eyes, they were the same. Sharp, calculating. "You're proud of yourself, aren't you?" she hissed. "You think you've won?" "You tried to kill me," I said evenly. "You tell me what winning looks like to you." She smirked. "You think this ends with me behind bars? You really think they'll believe some old woman who switched drinks out of instinct?" "They don't need to believe me," I said. "They have video." Her smirk faltered for a split second, but then she leaned closer. "You don't understand, Penelope. Ethan's mine. You can't protect him forever." I felt my blood run cold. "You're done hurting my family." "Am I?" she whispered. "Ask yourself who paid for that cruise, who signed the insurance paperwork for your husband's trust. You think Ethan didn't help me?" The world tilted. For a moment, I couldn't breathe, because I remembered the cruise, the one she'd called a gift, but it had been booked using my account, not hers, and the beneficiary listed on my travel insurance? Ethan. That wasn't an accident. She'd been setting it up for months, planting evidence that tied my son to her schemes, making sure if she fell, he'd fall with her. She hadn't just poisoned me physically, she'd poisoned everything. When I left that prison, I called Richard immediately. "She's trying to drag Ethan down." "Then we pull her under first." Richard filed a report with the DA's office showing how Natalie had been manipulating legal paperwork for months. Insurance fraud, forged signatures, and fake transactions routed through offshore accounts. Each one designed to point to Ethan if things went wrong. But we needed one final piece, something that tied her and Christopher directly to the scam. And fate, as it often does, delivered it right to my door.
A small brown envelope arrived in my mailbox one morning. No return address. Inside, there was a USB drive and a single note that said, "You don't know me, but I know her. She ruined my father's life too. Use this." The footage on that drive was grainy, recorded from an old security camera in a Florida nursing home, but the audio was clear. Natalie, talking to Christopher. "He's signing the papers tomorrow. Once he's gone, we can disappear again. Same story, new names." "And the old lady?" Christopher asked. "She's already coughing. She'll be gone by next month." That old lady had died 3 weeks later, officially of pneumonia. The timestamp on the video matched the death certificate exactly. That was the nail in the coffin. I handed everything to Detective Hale, who reopened the Florida case and tied it to our ongoing investigation. Now, Natalie wasn't just facing attempted murder, she was facing multiple counts of homicide, fraud, and conspiracy. Her smirk had turned into a mugshot, her charm into evidence. But my revenge, it wasn't about her going to prison. It was about Ethan seeing her for what she really was, and me finding peace after months of slow, deliberate destruction. A week before the trial, Ethan got a letter. No return address, no name, just 3 words on the front. "I forgive you." Inside was a small note, her handwriting, unmistakable. "I did what I had to. You never would have left her otherwise. We were supposed to start over. I loved you in my own way. Goodbye." Ethan stared at it for a long time. Then he tore it into pieces and threw it into the fire. "She's gone," he said quietly. "Not yet," I whispered. "Not until she answers for every single thing she's done." The trial began 2 months later. The courtroom was full. Press, lawyers, spectators, all waiting for the glamorous woman who'd poisoned her way through families to take the stand. And when she did, she looked like a ghost. Her voice cracked as they played the cruise footage, the tea exchange, the confession tapes. Ethan didn't look away once, not even when she turned to him, crying, and said, "You believe me, don't you?" He shook his head. "I believed you once. That was enough to destroy everything." When the verdict was read, the courtroom was silent. Guilty. On all counts. I didn't cheer. I didn't cry. I just sat there, my hands trembling in my lap, realizing that the nightmare was finally over. But as she was led away, Natalie turned one last time and smiled. That same cold, knowing smile. "You think you've won, Penelope, but you don't know everything." And in that moment, I knew the story wasn't done, because Natalie never left loose ends, and whatever she'd meant by that was about to unfold in a way none of us were ready for. The night after the verdict, I slept for the first time in nearly a year. No nightmares, no waking up to the sound of my name being whispered in the dark, just silence. When I woke up, the sun poured through the curtains, soft and golden. For a brief moment, I thought, maybe, just maybe, life could be normal again. Ethan made coffee that morning. He smiled, a small, fragile smile, but it was real. "You did it, Mom," he said quietly. "We did," I corrected him. We both needed to believe that. A few days later, I received a call from Detective Hale. "It's over, Penelope," he said. "The sentencing is done. Life without parole." Life without parole. 3 words that should have felt like peace, but instead, they felt like an unfinished sentence. Because deep down, I knew Natalie wasn't the kind of woman who accepted endings. She rewrote them. 2 weeks after the trial, strange things started happening. First,
The alarm triggered at 3 a.m. No one outside, no sign of forced entry. Then a package arrived. No return address. Inside was a silver bracelet. Delicate, expensive, familiar. It was the same bracelet Natalie had worn on the cruise. The same one the police had confiscated as evidence. My breath caught. Attached to it was a note, just 2 words, written in smudged black ink. Still watching. I took it straight to Detective Hale. He frowned when he saw it. Could be a copycat, or maybe one of her old partners. Christopher Lane? I asked. He nodded grimly. We never found him. He vanished the night Natalie was arrested, but if he's back... He didn't finish. He didn't need to. That night, I locked every door and window. Ethan offered to stay, but I told him no. He'd been through enough. After he left, I poured myself a glass of wine, sat by the fire, and tried to calm my shaking hands. The clock ticked past midnight. Then, 3 slow knocks echoed from the porch. My blood ran cold. I froze, waited. Another 3 knocks. Soft, deliberate. I grabbed the phone, ready to dial 911, but when I peeked through the peephole, there was nothing. No one. Just a single red envelope lying on the porch. I opened the door with trembling hands, grabbed it, and locked the door again. Inside was a photo. Natalie, in her prison uniform, smiling, and written across the bottom in marker, "Did you think walls could stop me?" The next morning I called the prison. The warden sounded confused. Impossible. She's in isolation. No visitors, no male privileges since the sentencing. Then explain this, I snapped, holding up the photo. There was silence. Then a quiet, unnerving sigh. "Miss Smith, you might want to sit down." He told me Natalie hadn't been in isolation for a week. She'd been transferred, a routine medical transfer to a state psychiatric facility, only the paperwork never went through. No one knew where she was. For days, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying every detail, the photo, the note, the bracelet. I even started doubting myself again. Had I really seen what I thought I had seen? Was this all another trick? Her final poison sinking into my mind? But then Richard called. "Check your back garden. Now." I ran outside, and there it was. In the center of my garden, on the stone bird bath, sat a small glass bottle. Inside it, a folded piece of paper. When I pulled it out, I nearly dropped it. It was the same handwriting from before. "You took my freedom. I'll take your peace, one piece at a time."
The next day, Ethan's car was vandalized in his driveway. A single word scratched across the hood: liar. His phone rang nonstop, unknown numbers, whispered messages, heavy breathing, and once, just once, her voice. "You can't hide from me, Ethan." We reported it, of course, but by the time the police traced the calls, they were coming from disposable phones all across the state. Natalie, or whoever was helping her, was playing a game we couldn't win. Weeks turned into months. The fear became routine. We learned to live with it, like background noise. Until one afternoon, I received another envelope. No return address again. Inside was a folded document, a copy of my husband's will. And across the front, scrawled in red pen, "You missed something." I studied every page until my eyes blurred, and then I saw it. A small clause buried deep in legal jargon, one Natalie must have convinced my son to add before he died. It granted her access to an offshore account in both their names, an account that hadn't been frozen during her trial, because technically, the funds were marital assets. She still had money, power, and connections. That's when I realized she didn't need to escape. She just needed to move pieces from afar. Richard and I tracked the bank transfers, The funds were being siphoned in small amounts, $1,000 here, $2,000 there, all to different shell companies, and every company name was a twisted echo of something familiar. Cruise Line Holdings, SLLC, The Lane Group, each one a ghost from her crimes. But one stood out, a new one, PE Industries. It took me a moment before it hit me. Penelope Eleanor Smith. My name. She was using my identity. The day we uncovered that, Richard got a call from one of his old contacts, an ex-FBI agent. She's moving through someone else now. You're not dealing with one woman anymore. You're dealing with a network, and she's the brain behind it. Can we stop her? I asked. He paused. If she's alive, yes. If she's dead, someone's continuing her work. Dead? I repeated. The agent sighed. The psychiatric transfer car she was in crashed 2 weeks ago. 3 bodies burned beyond recognition. One was believed to be her. Believed, not confirmed. That word haunted me more than any threat. That night, I lit a fire in the backyard and burned every photo I had of her, every trace of her name. But even as the ashes rose into the air, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was watching. Because Natalie wasn't just a person, she was a shadow, one that had learned to survive by becoming part of the dark. And if she really was alive, there was only one way to end this story: to become what she feared most, a woman who stopped being prey. I looked into the flames and whispered, "You wanted a war, Natalie. Fine, let's finish it." Then I reached for my phone. I dialed a number I'd promised I'd never call again. A voice answered, deep, calm, dangerous. "Penelope, didn't think I'd hear from you again." I said, "Once you owed me a favor," I replied. "I'm calling it in." "Who's the target?" I said, "A ghost, but I intend to make her real."
I hadn't heard that voice in years. Deep, smooth, with the kind of danger that only came from experience. "You said it was a ghost, Penelope. What kind?" "The kind that doesn't stay buried," I replied. His name was Vincent Mara. He wasn't a killer, not exactly. He was a finder, a fixer, someone who made problems disappear quietly when the law couldn't. I'd helped him once, long ago, when my husband was still alive, and he'd said, "If you ever need me, call." That night, I cashed in the favor. Vincent's team worked faster than I imagined. They traced the offshore accounts we'd found to a private courier service in Belize. That courier had shipped several packages to the US, each addressed to different shell companies, all signed under the same alias, N. Lane. Natalie Lane. But the signature looked wrong. Not feminine, not neat. Sharper, masculine. "Christopher," I whispered. He was alive too, and if Natalie wasn't dead, then she was with him. 2 weeks later, Vincent called again. Found them. They were living in a quiet coastal town in Portugal under fake names, Cameron and Eliza Ford. A small villa, a private dock. No one questioned where the money came from. "You want me to handle it?" Vincent asked. I hesitated. I could have said yes, and he would have erased them both without a trace. But that wasn't my style. Natalie needed to see me. She needed to know that the woman she'd underestimated had learned from her. "No, I'll handle it myself." I flew to Portugal under a different name, Helen Barrett, the same name Natalie had once used in one of her scams, Poetic Symmetry. The air was warm, salted with sea breeze. Her villa sat on a hill overlooking the ocean, white walls glistening under the sun. Beautiful, serene, and utterly fake. I booked a room at a nearby hotel and waited. 3 days later, I saw her. She was thinner, blonder, but her walk, that same confident sway, hadn't changed.
Beside him, Christopher carried groceries, his arm draped around her shoulders. And there it was again, that smile, as if the world still belonged to her. That night, I called Vincent. I'm ready. He arranged everything. A formal invitation sent to Eliza Ford, claiming she'd won an exclusive luxury dinner at a 5-star seaside restaurant, sponsored by a local foundation for expats. 2 guests, complimentary champagne. She wouldn't resist it. She never resisted luxury. The night of the dinner, I sat at a corner table, candlelight flickering across crystal glasses. When she arrived, she didn't recognize me. Not at first. The new hair, the subtle makeup, the calm, quiet posture of someone who'd already won. But then halfway through her meal, our eyes met, and I watched the blood drain from her face. "No," she whispered. "No, it can't be." "Hello, Natalie," I said softly. Or should I say Eliza? Christopher turned, confused. "Do you know her?" Natalie's lips trembled. "Get up, we're leaving." "Sit," I said. My voice was steady, cold, and for the first time, she obeyed. "How did you find me?" she whispered. "You taught me," I said. "You wanted me paranoid, sharp, unhinged. Turns out that's what it takes to survive you." She tried to smile, but her hand trembled as she reached for her drink. "I'm not afraid of you." "You should be," I said, "because I learned your rules, and I'm not breaking them. I'm perfecting them." Christopher finally caught on. "What is this?" he snapped. "She's the woman you nearly killed," I said, looking at him. "The one whose life you both stole and repainted with lies." He scoffed. "That was years ago. We've moved on." "So had the man in Florida," I said quietly. "The one you left to die." He froze. "You shouldn't have recorded that, Natalie. You really shouldn't have kept souvenirs." Her eyes widened. "You have it?" Every word. The waiter arrived with champagne. 2 glasses. Perfect timing. "Compliments of the house," he said. Natalie's gaze darted between the glasses, and for the first time in her life, she hesitated. I smiled. "Don't worry, I wouldn't poison you. That would be too easy." "Then why are you here?" "To give you a choice." I placed a small envelope on the table. Inside, documents. Bank transfers, fraud reports, video evidence. Everything tying her and Christopher to every crime they ever committed. "This will go to Interpol at midnight, unless you do exactly what I say." "And what's that?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "You disappear. Again. But this time, permanently. No aliases, no accounts, no schemes. You vanish. Because if I hear your name, if I even see a trace of you again, the world will see everything you are." She stared at me, then laughed, a cold, broken laugh. "You think you can scare me, Penelope? You think this ends because you say so?" "No," I said. "It ends because I already started." I turned the screen of my phone toward her. The live feed showed a laptop open in my hotel room, a progress bar moving slowly. "Uploading to Interpol database." "Stop it!" she shouted. "I can, if you leave tonight." Christopher stood abruptly, furious. "She's bluffing!" But Natalie knew me better. She saw the calm in my eyes, the same calm she once weaponized. She grabbed his arm. "We're leaving," she whispered. "Natalie! Now!" They walked out, disappearing into the night. The next morning, Vincent called. "You did it." They boarded a private boat at dawn, heading for international waters. No records after that. "Good," I said. He paused. "You're sure you don't want to finish it?" "I already did." Because revenge isn't about killing someone. It's about watching them live, stripped of power, control, and illusion. It's about letting them choke on the emptiness they created. A week later, I received one final envelope. No return address again. Inside, a single photo. Natalie and Christopher, sitting on a boat deck, the sun setting behind them. her face pale, eyes sunken, smile gone, and written across the back in her handwriting, "You win." Months passed. Ethan and I started rebuilding. The nightmares faded, the house felt warm again. Sometimes, when I pour my tea, I still remember that first night on the cruise. The note, the glass, the switch that changed everything. Because life is full of choices, and one decision, one quiet moment, can alter every fate that follows. I look at my reflection in the window sometimes and whisper, "Thank you for teaching me, Natalie." Because in the end, she taught me the most important lesson of all, to never underestimate a woman who's been poisoned and survived.